Hello, my art-loving friends. I want to use my Rosa Gallery palette this week, and it's not complete. I bought all of these paints, and then this one was gifted to me for Christmas. I don't know. I received all of these back, I think, in April. I need to fill in all these holes you see on the swatch sheet because I want this to be a complete palette when I'm using it in class this week. So let's fill this up and see what these colors look like. So you can see here from this swatch sheet, these are the colors that I currently have. There are 8 holes in this. The problem is I have more than 8 paints here. I have 10. So that's a problem. But I ended up getting this black grape and black green, and I figured I could use half pans for those slots instead of full pans. And then this one was an unexpected gift, but I do have this in this palette already right here. So actually we only have 9. Make those half pans. I think we're good. I didn't realize this one was in there already. Just make sure it is. Yep, it is the same pigment. I had a little bit of overspill on it and I put it in this full pan, but I might make a mixed palette. Maybe I'll include this. So I'll just put this in the extras category. So I have a space for Naples Yellow Light right there, a space for Sap Green right here. The Royal Brown can go in that hole. No idea where anything else was supposed to go. So Payne's Gray. Payne's Gray would be here. I'm assuming Caput Mortuum was supposed to go here or here. I may have to swatch these out again to remember. I don't know if we actually ever swatched them out to... No, we didn't, because these are still shut. We never even swatched these out to begin with, so we probably should do that first. Lavender could go there, but warm gray is a little displaced here. Caput Mortuum there and warm gray there. Yeah, a few of these are obvious, few are not so obvious, so let's just see what they look like on paper. So just because it's inevitable that somebody will ask, did you try? And I agree, did you try? I cannot fit 2 full pans sideways. You can see they definitely don't fit there. So even though it looks like a lot of space there, well, it does to me, they don't fit for sure. And then 2 half pans will fit, but it kind of squishes the bottom of the tin out a little bit, and it's just an uncomfortable squishy fit. So what I do have are these pans that came with the portable painter, and there's this one where it's split into 2, and that fits in there perfectly. So my black green and black grape can go in there, and if I find I end up using those colors a lot, then I'll give them their own full pans eventually. But we'll see how that goes. I keep this bin of scrap paper so that when I need to randomly swatch something, ooh, glitter paper. I like the glitter paper. Anyway, when I need to randomly swatch something, I have good paper to do it on, or just scrap paper that was good. Like this is at your postcard. Ooh. This is good paper. See, like these are misprints from some of my Patreon postcards, but this is 100% cotton paper. That'd be a good one to swatch these on. Let's start with this lightest one, Naples Yellow Light. It's a PY42 and a PW6. This is fresh, wet paint. I just squeezed it. In case you're unsure what I just said, I just squeezed it. Okay. Anyway, yeah, very light tinting. I basically wanted it to be like a buff titanium replacement, but this one obviously is just slightly more yellow leaning. I think it's quite pretty. This one is the lavender. It's a PB, whoa, mess is what it is. It's a PB29, PV3, and PW6. It doesn't say that it's granulating on the tube, but with that PB29 in it, I can actually already see granulation in this swatch. So definitely is granulating. Let me get the glare off of that for you. Beautiful. Made a mess of my sap green one here. This messy one is sap green. Let's see if I can clean that up a little bit. think I'm just making it more of a mess actually. Sap green, PY110, PG7, and PBK6. This one is transparent, 3-star light fast rating. All of these had 3-star light fast ratings. Beautiful green. It's coming across a little brighter on camera than it actually is, but I think if I hold it out of the light there, you can see it pretty well. This one is the Caput Mortuum, 3-star light fast. I already said they all have 3-star light fast rating. This one is considered fully opaque and granulating. Oh, beautiful. I don't know why they consider it fully opaque though. Seems pretty transparent to me, but what do I know? This one is the Royal Brown. They're considering this one transparent and granulating. And this one is a PBR 25. It's not a pigment you see a lot of, but when you see them, they're very distinct. I hope you can see that in the camera. Like, it's just this beautiful, vibrant red-brown. It's just amazing. Da Vinci does have a PBR 25. Most brands probably do, actually. It's not a very common in starter kits or 24 kits or anything like that. So it's one you have to kind of look for, in my experience anyway. This is one that already came in a pan. This is Warm Gray, which is a PR 254, a PBK7, and a PW6. Get some more water on the subject here. This cotton paper is dry and thirsty. Nice. All right. Ran out of Etcher postcards. I'm pretty sure this is Fabriano paper here. I know this is, these two, and I think this is the same stuff. So it's Fabriano 100% cotton paper. Nice stuff. It's what was in my advent calendar. All right, get lots of water here. This is black green and semi-opaque. Ooh, that's absolutely gorgeous. Now this one didn't say it was granulating either, but it's sure looking granulating to me. The pigments in this one are PB15, PBK7, and PG7. This is also rough paper, and sometimes it's hard to tell if something's a granulating paint if it's on rough paper because the rough paper makes it look granulating, but we will see when it dries. This one is the black grape. PBK7, PV19, and PV3. We'll have to compare that to the violet black. This one definitely looks more purple, I guess, and the violet black looks a little more pink, but we'll see when it dries again. This is the back side of Fabriano paper. This is Payne's Gray, which is a PB15:1, a PB19, and a PBK7. They're all dry. What do you think? Do you like them? Which one's your favorite? Kind of intrigued by the royal brown. The lavender, every time I use a lavender, it always dries more blue than I expect. I keep thinking, when I think of lavender, I think of a really light pastel purple, and I never get that when I order a lavender, but it's okay. It's what I knew I was getting. I still wanted it, but it's just not quite what I think of when I think of lavender, which is interesting. The sap green is exactly what I wanted. Love that one. That's going to be a great addition. They'll probably all be great additions. Now I just have to figure out where to put them because I just have this weird gap here between the blue and the purple. So really not sure what to do there. I'll figure it out and then I'll tell ya. I've attached the pans where I want them with this double-sided archival sticky tape. It's good stuff. Now we just fill in our holes here on the swatch sheet. I do need to create a line where I have the double pan here. So these are 1 inch and 1/8. Okie dokie. So I need to come up that much and draw a line. Ta-da! The dogs are gonna play while we're doing this, so that's fine. That Naples yellow light, I'm just being gentle not to dig too much into it because it's still very wet paint. So I suspect when I can actually get a really good go at it once it dries, it's not going to come out that light from the beginning, but it's hard to say if you can hear me through the dogs playing. Feels like the paint is going to dry pretty quickly. Sap green, I am so excited for this one. Oh, it's so pretty. I really like their PG8, the one they just call green as well. I use that a lot when I paint with this palette. However, it's a much deeper green, and so this sap green will be a nice in-between from the bright green to the PG8 green. This is that beautiful royal brown. I think I left the right spot in the palette for it. It's a really spectacularly beautiful color. Next up is the Caput Mortuum. Oh wow, that's nice. I know we just swatched these a few minutes ago, but still, I couldn't have... The dogs are so loud. Hey, boys, I'm working here. Alright. Anyway, what I was saying is, even though we just swatched them, I can still appreciate how awesome these colors are when I put them on paper again. And the warm gray. Really didn't have the right location for this color on this swatch sheet and in the palette because I didn't leave a good hole for it. I mean, I knew that was a color I was getting, but I don't know. I think when I ended up getting the extra black grape or black green, kind of messed that up, but it'll be fine there, I'm sure. And that really pretty lavender. I have to be careful not to touch the warm gray because it's very wet. A little bit of a line between those. Boy, that's pretty, regardless of it being more blue than a pastel purple. It is very pretty. Very glad to have it. Looks very blue on the camera. Let me bring it up closer. So pretty. Okay, we'll do the top one of this and then skip over here and give that a moment, at least to dry a little bit. This is black grape. I need way more water than I had. Wow. That is so pretty. Now the cat's over here snoring. Just an animal-filled evening. Black grape. Beautiful. This one over here is the Payne's gray. Wow, that can get really, really deep in color. That is one that came in the full pan already, so it's already dried down for me. That's going to be a nice, useful color because I love those deep, dark blues and grays and blacks. We'll see what it looks like next to the indigo once it dries, since it is right next to the indigo. Alright, the last one, if we can get it without spilling into the black grape. This is the black green. Oh, I like that. I'm glad I got those, even though I had to split a spot. Having those pans from the portable painter really worked out well. And here's the swatch sheet. Okay, all filled out and labeled. New color, Naples Yellow Light, Sap Green, Royal Brown, Caput Mortuum, beautiful, Warm Gray, Lavender, Black Green, Black Grape, and the Payne's Gray, which did dry significantly different than the indigo. Actually, it kind of makes me want to put a little more color on the top to kind of see, because I have a really dark stripe on the top of the indigo. Let's kind of just see what happens if we put a little more color there. Just color right over that ink and obliterate it. I'm sure that's a good idea. Just didn't seem dark enough at the top. While that dries, and we'll see if my Archer and Olive acrylograph pen survived that. I can't read it now that it's darker, but anyway, I want to tell you that I have 2 days until class. So these are getting tacky already, but I seriously doubt they'll be dry in 2 days when I have to take them to class. So I'll just leave them flat in my vehicle while I'm traveling back and forth to class until they're completely dry. And then I'll leave that one just slightly contaminated because I don't want to dig any more out of there. But at least I'll have all my colors because we are painting the Great Sand Dunes. And I actually don't think that I necessarily needed any of the colors. Well, maybe that Naples Yellow Light. Probably end up using the Raw Sienna and the Quin Gold and the Mars Brown. Oh, that's pretty. I really like that Mars Brown one. So many of these I love. The Golden Brown. Oh, the Cobalt Gray. Anyway, I got distracted. We're painting the Great Sand Dunes, and it'll be fun to see what colors I use. I'm going to do a test painting that morning, or maybe tomorrow morning. Hey, stop scratching that. I'm going to do a test painting either tomorrow morning or the morning before class. I did it the time before when we painted Glacier. Let me see if I have that painting. This picture I took at Glacier, and this is a printout from the college, and it doesn't get nearly as vibrant. I'll show you the real picture up here on the screen. Anyway, this was my little super quick test painting that morning that I was supposed to film and totally forgot about it and just painted away contentedly without remembering I was going to film that. Oops, this is on the Bauhong paper. And then in class, I couldn't find my Arches block. I found it since, but I had the New York Central supply and the size we were supposed to use and use this paper. This painting is not finished yet, but here is it so far. And this is using my core watercolors. And I'm pretty happy with it so far. I do need to finish it at some point. So yeah, this week we're painting the Great Sand Dunes, and I wanted this beautiful palette with these beautiful colors for that one. After seeing the swatch sheet all completely done, it has to be in a different order. I can't handle this first of all, and then my cobalt gray being up there. I put it with the greens on purpose last time because it does show through green, which is ironic because it has blue in it and a red. Blue and red should be like a purple, not a green. Anyway, things need to be changed, so that's what I'm doing now, just cutting this apart. I don't want to re-swatch it. I don't have time for that right now, so I'll just cut this apart and rearrange it and tape the back side of it. There's some stuff in here I'm going to change as well. Actually, this is going to take longer than I thought, so I don't have time for this today, so I'm just going to use it as is today and change it later, and I'll show you all of that. So I was running out of time to redo my palette because I had to get to class. There is a class I have first where I just monitor the classroom and I'm there if anyone needs help. So I painted this as a practice piece for the next class, which is painting the national parks in watercolor. And this is supposed to be the Great Sand Dunes in Colorado. It's a national park, obviously. And this was on the Bauhong paper with that Rosa Gallery palette. It was so much fun. I may still play with a couple of the shadows and get them deeper and darker here, but I don't know. I may just leave it as is. Who knows? So then when the actual class came, I used my 12 by 16 Arches block and painted the actual painting. and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the palette, I enjoyed the watercolors. I ended up splashing some water here and didn't realize it until I got home, so I probably will fix that. I also want to deepen this shadow here. Some of the shadows I want to deepen and really push the contrast on this. So I thought I was finished when I left class last night, but turns out I may play with this, which is scary because I really like this painting so far, but I want to push it a little farther and see how it will look. And then I also painted this little snowman scene on some white cotton paper. And I had some free time at the end of class because I finished that a little early, and I started cutting the swatch sheet apart even more so that I could rearrange it. So I'm going to finish that and redo the swatch sheet. Since I'm cutting it apart so much, I'm actually going to repaint it, which is going to be a pain in the butt, but it's going to be worth it. Also, I tend to use a lot of the indigo. I don't know if you can see the little dip in there, but it's getting pretty deep. And the PG8, I love that PG8. It's a deep dark green. So I wanted to mix that with the indigo for this part of this mountain and over here. I don't know if you can see the little bit of green tint in there, but it's beautiful. And I love this palette so much. And I didn't end up using the sap green. It's just a little bit too light for the dark that I needed in this painting. I also ended up using the bright blue and the blue, which is a phthalo blue, and then which is a PB15:3, and then a regular PB15 on that. This sand, oh my gosh, do you see this beautiful glow here, a little bit here, and here? That is the Naples Yellow Light, the new color I just put in there. Here it is, right here where my index finger is, holding things in my other hand, so I'm having a hard time here, but that one. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful color. I ended up using a lot of the Mars Brown too, and then I kind of mixed in between using the Royal Brown and the English Red, depending on how much granulation I wanted. They're both, in my opinion, a little bit granulating, but the Royal Brown is more granulating, and so I used them both. Plus Payne's Gray, of course, Payne's Gray. Put some of that Naples Yellow Light here in the sky. Oh, it's so pretty. I'm so glad I picked that color to add to this palette. And then the sky is a mixture of the bright blue, the phthalo blue, a little bit of the regular blue, and a little bit of the Indanthrene blue PB60 on the corners. All right, I'm gonna finish this palette up, get this thing rearranged and done with. And that was a struggle and a half. You'll see that as I go through this process. I don't know, I'm just gonna speed through this because you'll see it was a little bit pointless at the end. I'll explain it later. Okay, now I'm regretting life. I think I should have just left my swatch sheet as is, because at this point I'm going to have to take every single pan off of here, and they're stuck very well onto this. That double-sided sticky tape I use works really well. So you can see it took a little bit of effort to get that off. So even though I didn't really like this order, I'm tempted to just leave it and repaint this dang swatch sheet, but I don't know. I'll give this a few more minutes and decide. Okay, excuse the heater in the background. It takes like 10 minutes for that thing to shut off. I think I'm happy with this layout, but there's some weird things. Like there's no good place to put the not the lavender. Well, yeah, the lavender too, because it's kind of a blue, it's kind of a purple, and then the violet's really dark, but it's very blue leaning, whereas these are more pink leaning. Where do you put it in this layout when you're stuck with this 9x6 layout? So, and again, like chromium oxide has no place to be, and the olive green is just kind of an outlier, so I put it by the jade green, and I don't know. There's just no perfect layout. Like, is the golden brown really gonna be happy up there? I don't know. Should the sepia be down here with these darks? I don't know. The green, this PG8, I use as a dark all the time. I mix it with the indigo. Should it be by the indigo? It's a green. It needs to be with the greens, but it's a dark. It needs to be with the dark. See, there is no perfect solution. So if you ever struggle to put your palettes together, just know you're not alone. You can't just get it exactly right. You just can't. Unless you make several different palettes, which is really fun to do, and I may do. I have a little Rosa Gallery palette that was sent to me last Christmas, I may make a smaller version of this that I can take on trips and stuff, although this one is kind of slim. It works, but I have that little tin. Anyway, I think I'm gonna sit with this for about a half an hour, kind of look at it a lot in that half an hour, and then decide if I really want to detach all of these from their tape and reorganize them. It's really hard to get that tape off, like really hard. Oh my goodness, see? Wow. And that right there just makes me want to leave it as is, but I do like the new layout better than the layout that's in here currently. It's just, dang. Okay, so I got one off there with a lot of pushing, but yeah, see, it pulls the tape off, and oh, I think I probably just wasted 2 hours of my life for nothing, because taking all these off and putting them back on, that's a lot of work. I'll probably just tape this new layout as is. I really don't know that I want to undo the tape on all of those pans right now and put them in a new palette. I honestly think that would take another 2 hours. If you think about it, first of all, the pans have to be pulled out. That's hard to do, so it's going to take effort, time, and energy. And then it's going to pull the tape off some of the pans, and I'll have to pull that tape off the palette bottom in order to put new tape on without it clumping up, and then have to redo the swatch sheet. So in reality, it would take a couple hours. So I'm just going to take this tape gun. I did take a picture of this, but I'm going to use this tape gun and at least tape this new layout. Oh, that didn't work at all. Redo. Push, don't squish. No, push, don't. What did I do? Like, I don't know, spread? Whatever I did, it didn't work. Uh-oh, we got something in the wrong place. And this won't help me knowing what my current colors are, obviously, but it will help me in keeping the layout that I know I want eventually, which is good. And when I have a couple extra hours, then I will go ahead and redo this palette. I just cannot afford the time right now. So this is reality. I have a lot going on in my life, and 2 hours to redo this awesome palette is not on the schedule right now, but this is how I think I will want it in the future. So now when I go to paint with this, I'm gonna totally forget that this is not the right layout and paint with all the wrong colors, so that'll be good. I'll put a note in here real quick, actually, that this is not the current layout, because that could be a mess. Could you guys imagine? That would be so funny. You'd be like, all right, I'm gonna go paint with my awesome Rosa Gallery palette, and use your swatch sheet, and then have a total disaster when you go to paint with it. You'll be like, wait a minute, check this out. Cerulean blue. That is not cerulean blue. I could tell that's a brown. That is not ultramarine. That's a pink. So I think it would be pretty obvious, but anyway, hate to leave a video undone, but you know, reality is I have other things to do today. All right, thank you guys so much for joining me. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now. Once the dog is done scratching, we'll continue. Hey, boys, can you go in a different room? They're both looking at me like, what, Mom? You're not going anywhere. Oh, there we go.